Have you ever imagined a world where tiny, living robots could roam inside your body, fixing problems and delivering medicine exactly where it's needed? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster, but this isn't fiction. This is the cutting edge of science, and it's just one of 7 hidden ideas that are poised to change absolutely everything. Today, we're diving deep into the mind-blowing innovations that are happening right now, just beneath the surface, promising a future you've only dreamed of. From biology to technology, get ready to have your perspective shifted. Let's start with our first game changer, living robots. Scientists have created the world's first ever living self-healing robots, and they've named them Xenobots. These aren't your typical machines made of metal and wires. Xenobots are built from the stem cells of the African clawed frog, Xenopus laevis *, hence the name Xeno. Picture this: microscopic biological machines, less than a millimeter wide, assembled from heart and skin cells. The heart cells contract and relax, acting like tiny engines that propel the Xenobot forward, while the skin cells provide a more rigid structure, like a chassis. What makes them so revolutionary? Unlike traditional robots, Xenobots can do incredible things. They can move through aqueous environments, work together in swarms to gather tiny particles into piles, and perhaps most astonishingly, they can heal themselves. If you cut one, it will stitch itself back up, just like living tissue does. This ability to self-repair is a massive leap forward. Imagine a delivery system for medicine that could mend itself if it encountered an unexpected obstacle inside a patient's artery. It's a level of sophistication that rigid, synthetic robots just can't match. But how do these tiny biological marvels even move? Where do they get their energy? It's not from batteries or a power cord. Xenobots come preloaded with their own fuel source. The cells they are made from, specifically, the embryonic cells, contain natural deposits of lipids and proteins. Think of these as tiny, on-board lunchboxes. The Xenobot uses this stored energy to power the contractions of its heart muscle cells, allowing it to navigate its environment. This internal power source is a key feature, making them completely autonomous once they're created and set loose. They are, in essence, a new form of life, a programmable organism designed by a supercomputer and brought to life by biologists. However, this internal power source has its limits. The Xenobots can only move and function for as long as their energy reserves last, which is typically about a week. Once they've used up all the fats and proteins packed inside their cells, their movement ceases and they simply biodegrade into harmless dead cells. This is actually a huge advantage. One of the biggest concerns with nanorobots has always been what happens to them after their mission is complete. Do they just accumulate in the body or the environment? With Xenobots, that problem is solved. They are fully biodegradable, leaving no trace behind. They do their job, run out of juice, and then safely disappear. It's the ultimate in eco-friendly technology. Understanding this energy life cycle is crucial for the future of Xenobots. Scientists are now studying exactly how they metabolize these energy stores. By figuring out the most efficient ways for them to use their internal fuel, they can optimize their design. This could mean creating Xenobots that can live longer, travel farther, or perform more complex tasks before their energy runs out. For example, they could be engineered to have a higher density of energy-rich cells or a more efficient cellular motor. This research is paving the way for targeted medical applications that were once pure fantasy. So what could this actually look like in the real world? The possibilities are staggering. Imagine fleets of Xenobots swimming through a patient's bloodstream to scrape plaque from artery walls, preventing heart attacks. Or picture them meticulously hunting down and destroying cancer cells one by one, without the damaging side effects of chemotherapy. They could deliver drugs directly to a specific group of cells, like a tiny biological smart bomb, increasing the effectiveness of treatments while minimizing harm to the rest of the body. Beyond medicine, they could be used for environmental cleanup, gathering microplastics from the oceans or identifying contaminants in the soil. The creation of Xenobots marks a profound moment in science. It blurs the line between the digital and the biological, between machine and organism. We are now in an era where we can design and build entirely new life forms from the ground up to perform specific tasks. This raises all sorts of fascinating and important ethical questions, of course, which we as a society will need to navigate carefully. What does it mean to create life? How do we ensure these technologies are used for good? These are big questions, and we're only at the very beginning of finding the answers. But there's no denying the sheer potential of this breakthrough. The humble frog cell has given us a glimpse into a future where living machines could solve some of humanity's greatest challenges. And that's just the first of 7 shocking ideas we're exploring today. If you thought living robots were mind-bending, just wait until you hear about what's next. We're about to venture even further into the scientific frontier, where the rules of reality as we know them are being rewritten. But before we jump to our second revolutionary concept, let me ask you, what do you think is the most exciting potential use for Xenobots? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. All right, moving on to our second groundbreaking idea. What if I told you that we're on the verge of being able to store all the data in the world in a shoebox? You heard that right. We're talking about data storage. Right now, our global data is stored in massive, energy-guzzling data centers. But scientists have figured out how to encode digital data photos, videos, text, anything into the 4-letter alphabet of life. A, C, G, and T, the building blocks of DNA. Here's how it works. Digital data is fundamentally binary, a series of ones and zeros. Scientists have developed methods to translate this binary code into DNA sequences. For example, 00 could be an A, 01 A, C, 10 A, G, and 11 AT. Once this translation is done, machines called DNA synthesizers build actual strands of DNA with these specific sequences. The result is a vial of whitish powder-dried DNA that holds an immense amount of information. To read the data back, you use a DNA sequencer, which reads the A, C, G, T sequence, and a computer translates it back into its original binary format. The density is what's truly mind-boggling. Theoretically, a single gram of DNA can store about 215 petabytes of data. That's 215 million gigabytes. To put that into perspective, your high-end laptop might have 1 terabyte of storage. A single gram of DNA could hold the contents of 215,000 of those laptops. All of the information ever recorded by humankind, every book, every song, every movie, every post on the internet, could fit in a space about the size of a large van. Another incredible benefit is longevity. Magnetic tapes and hard drives degrade in decades. But DNA, when stored in a cool, dry, dark place, can last for thousands, even hundreds of thousands of years. we've recovered readable DNA from woolly mammoth fossils. This could be the ultimate archival solution, a way to preserve our culture and knowledge for civilizations far in the future. Of course, it's not ready for your home computer just yet. The process of writing and reading DNA data is currently slow and very expensive. But the cost is plummeting, and the speed is increasing rapidly, following a similar trajectory to how genome sequencing itself became more accessible. Major tech companies are already investing heavily in this research. Within the next decade, DNA data storage could move from a lab curiosity to a practical solution for long-term, large-scale archiving. This is how we'll back up humanity's hard drive, and the innovations just keep coming. Our third idea brings us back to the human body, but this time to the brain. We're talking about neural dust. For years, scientists have been developing brain-computer interfaces, or BCs, which allow direct communication between the brain and an external device. You've probably seen demonstrations of people controlling robotic arms with their thoughts. But these systems usually require invasive surgery and cumbersome wires coming out of the head. Neural dust offers a radical new approach. Imagine sprinkling thousands of microscopic, wireless sensors, each the size of a grain of sand, onto the surface of the brain. This dust is powered and read wirelessly using ultrasound. An external transceiver on the scalp sends ultrasonic pulses that power the sensors and listens for the return echoes. When a neuron fires, it changes the electrical properties of the nearby sensor, which in turn alters the reflected ultrasound signal. By reading these reflections, the system can map brain activity in real time with incredible precision. The implications are enormous. For people with paralysis, neural dust could provide a seamless way to control prosthetic limbs, wheelchairs, or even a computer cursor, restoring a degree of independence. It could also be used to monitor and treat neurological disorders like epilepsy, detecting the onset of a seizure and delivering a targeted electrical pulse to stop it before it begins. Beyond medical uses, some futurists envision a world where neural dust could augment our own abilities, allowing us to connect our brains directly to the cloud or communicate telepathically. That's a much more distant and ethically complex future, but the foundational technology is being built today. It's a minimally invasive, massively scalable way to listen in on the brain's symphony, and it's going to revolutionize neuroscience and medicine. From living robots to DNA archives and neural dust, the future is unfolding faster than we can imagine. These aren't just incremental improvements. They are fundamental shifts in what is possible. And we're not even halfway through our list. What we've discussed so far could change medicine and data forever. But what about the very energy that powers our world? Stay with me, because our fourth shocking idea could solve the energy crisis for good. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the future. If you're finding these ideas as mind-blowing as I am, do me a favor and hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part of this series and all our other deep dives into the science that's shaping our world. Your support means everything and helps us continue to bring you this kind of content. Until next time, stay curious.